In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for the Metu Neter, oracle scriptures and writings that came on the continent of Africa thousands of years before any organized religion. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. We greet everyone in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Muslim family, assalamu alaikum. To my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. To my black conscious family, hotep. And to my people in the streets, what's good to you? It all means peace. So this is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. Happy New Year to all the listeners and viewers out there. The Most High has granted us another year on this planet to do his will, hopefully. So Happy New Year. Thank everyone for tuning in and supporting the Hour of Power. And 2018, it was a wonderful year, and we have some big things planned for 2019 and moving forward. So keep tuned in, keep supporting the channel as you do, and you will see the benefit one way or another. Couple community announcements as always. This Saturday, January the 5th at Vonnie Grimes Gym, we'll pick up with our Alafia's teaching class for our youth. That's at 11 a.m. from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Vonnie Grimes Gym, Alafia's teaching class. That's a youth group for ages 7 to 15. So that's for the youth, male and female. We took a week off last week to reboot, but we'll be right back at it this week. Also on Saturday between the hours of 6 and 8 at Championship Community Center, they'll have a little youth gathering for the youth there, for youth under the age of 12. But it must be adult chaperone. So if you have any youth between under the age of 12, they'll have a little get together for the youth there between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. at 459 West King Street. That's Championship Community Center, led by our good brother Dominic Chapman. So that's this Saturday, January the 5th. If there's any other community announcements, please inbox me or send a message to the Hour of Power, and we'll be glad to announce it. On January the 26th at 4 p.m., we'll have table talk with Lady Hamid, which is my wife. That'll be in Cockeysville, Maryland. You can register on eventbrite.com or email at mr@info@ladyhamid.com, mr@info@ladyhamid.com. So again, that's January 26th of this year, 4 p.m. table talk with Lady Hamid, Cockeysville, Maryland. That's for the ladies. Register on eventbrite.com. So if there's any other community announcements, any positive things going on in the community, please inbox me. Before we get into our much anticipated interview with our good brother, it's always something. I've received some real disturbing news this morning. Hate to start off the new year with this, but this is what we do with the Hour of Power. We are not shy to speak the truth. We are not shy to speak on issues that other people would like to be shut-lipped on. It just shocks me, the brutality and the inhumane actions of some people in this country. Here we are in 2019. A young lady by the name of, not a young lady, she's a child, by the name of Jasmine Barnes in Harris County in Texas. Her and her mother, LaPortia Washington, who's 30 years old, and another child, was in their pajamas riding to a store just to get some coffee in Houston, Texas, and some person, if you want to call him that, rolled up next to them at a stoplight, shot into the car several times, and killed a 7-year-old innocent child unprovoked for no reason. No reason. They didn't do anything. That's what the police report said. So the 7-year-old child, again, her name was Jasmine Barnes, 7 years old, beautiful child. And there was another child in the back seat of the car. And once they got to the hospital, she's asking, once they treated her wounds, is my sister going to come home with me? Absolutely heartbreaking. And many of us, for some reason, act like we don't see these things, don't want to talk about it. But the Hour Power talk about it, and I'm going to go in real deep with it on my podcast in the next 1 or 2 days. But there's no way I could just act like I didn't see that. And I've talked about that before on my podcast, this, mindset that some of us have, like we don't see certain things until it hits our door. And I've referenced the movie Get Out, where Grandpa Walter, who was the groundskeeper, in the movie Get Out, and he knew that Chris, who was the star of the movie, was being set up for the kill. And Chris said, "I'm just introducing myself," and he said nothing to warn him. And he said, "Let me just get on back to work now and mind my own business." And that's the mindset that a lot of us have. Let me get on back to work now and mind my own business. A sick mentality on top of the sickness that this demon shot into the car of an innocent child and family. Can you imagine the trauma? So, rest in peace, Jasmine Barnes, a 7-year-old child. I reached out to the mother. I'm just waiting to hear back from her. So, horrific, unspeakable. Don't wait till something hits your front door to recognize or acknowledge something. Unreal. Anyway, we have a wonderful brother here, since we're talking about youth and saving our youth. Good friend of mine, Uncle Proc, as we call you, as you're known by, deservedly so. And before we get started, the call-in number is 717-846-5067 if you have any questions or comments for our wonderful brother here, Uncle Proc. Can you introduce yourself? Sorry to start out like that, but
that's all right. That's something definitely necessary. It's something needed to be spoken upon. Me working with the youth and working with kids, it's always near and dear to my heart. The things that go on in the community, such as ours, even all the way in Houston, to hear something of such a horrific thing to happen for no apparent reason. So yeah, it's definitely good to shed light on it. My name is Jerald Proctor, the unofficial Uncle Proc, as the kids affectionately call me. My kids call me. I'm a hall monitor, school security at Jackson K-8, as you can see by the hoodie I got on. I've been in this community all my life. I've worked with in the school district for 13 years, 15 years overall. Actually working with the youth, and I have about 20 plus years of coaching football and basketball. Right.
I want to make one correction here with the community announcement for the table talk. That's info@ladyhamid.com for that table talk, which is January 26th. And also, there were 3 other children in the car with that incident in Houston. 3 other children on top of the one who lost her life, who is Jasmine Barnes. Wow. Yes, I come across you, there at Jackson, and it's a joy to see, because I see how the children react to you. It's not an act. They genuinely love you. The way they come up to you. Now, you said you've been in the school system for 13 to 15 years, right?
Yes.
Now, have you spent all the years there at Jackson? Or
no, my first 9 years, I was a home monitor at the high school, William Penn Senior High School.
Oh, okay.
And then for the last 4 years, I've been over at Jackson K-8.
Okay.
But just working with kids in general, it's a blessing. You kind of get a chance to watch them grow. You know, some of the kids I've known since they were little kids and watch them grow up and get to see them go through high school. And now, you know, being at Jackson, having some of the kids that were in pre-K when I started now in second grade, and they're starting to play sports now, and they're getting a little bigger now. You know, they was 4 years old, now they're, you know, 8, 9 years old. So it's definitely a blessing to always to watch the growing process of a young person.
Yes, I have a young lady that I supervise with my job, me doing mobile therapy, and she's a real young lady, and she was happy to return there. Now she, you know, helps out the youth, and she was so ecstatic to come back, you know, to that environment and still see some of the same people. I don't know if you were there when she was in school, but she's a real young lady. I ain't gonna say her name, but she was really excited, you know, to come, you know, back, you know, to the school. Like you said, it's almost like a, you know, family atmosphere there. And your brother's with Mr. Coach Way, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Yes, he's been a shining light in the school system. Hold on, someone's calling in already. You mind if I take a call?
Oh, take the call.
All right, that's unusual. Hour of power.
Yes, wanted to. I had just tuned in and I heard the tail end of the incident in Houston.
Yes, could you state your name, sir? And where you calling from?
Smith Bay.
Could you say that again, brother?
Leon Smith Bay.
Oh, how you doing, brother? I think I've met you before. Have you met me before at a program, maybe?
Yes, indeed. I'm with the Black Wolves. Yes, we
Okay.
came up as you represented powerfully at the Harrisburg Capitol state Capitol building.
Right. And our good brother here, he was there doing poetry and spoken word.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's wonderful work that Uncle Proc is doing with the children. Magnificent, and that's what we're doing down here in Baltimore.
Right.
Like I said, I saw that what you were speaking of the incident in Houston was touching you both, and I really caught the tail end of it.
Yes.
Could you repeat what you were saying?
Oh, okay.
What you were saying?
Yes. You okay with that, Uncle? Yes. On Sunday, a young lady by the name of LaPortia Washington, 30 years old, in Houston, Texas. Her and her 3 children. They were just going to like a Starbucks to get some coffee and go get some groceries. That was like their normal routine. They didn't live far from where they were at because they were still in their pajamas. They came to a stoplight, and for no reason, what is identified as a white man in a red maroon truck, bearded in his 40s, came to the stoplight and just started shooting in the car, totally unprovoked, and killed 7-year-old child in the back seat, which we know now as Jasmine Barnes, 7 years old. Glass flying everywhere, hit some of the other children. The other children had to be treated, but thank God they didn't get hit. But Jasmine, the 7-year-old, got hit in the head, and then the other children, once they were released from the hospital, said, "Well, when is my sister coming home?" And the mother just almost like questioning herself, saying, "Well, I didn't do anything. I'm trying to think what I did." And from all accounts, just totally unprovoked. This happened on Sunday in Houston, Texas, in Harris County. I actually have a spiritual sister that lives right there in that area. I'm gonna reach out to her, but I did reach out to the mother, but she has a lot going on right now, so I'm gonna wait to hear back from her.
Well, I send my sincerest condolences to the young sister who passed away and her family, the mother and her family. Again, Uncle Proc, thank you very much. I apologize for interrupting, but I just tuned in, and I saw how it affected you both, so I really wanted to understand what was going on. But please continue the good work, Brother Sharif, and I'm going to continue to listen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in. Keep tuning in, brother. All righty. Thank you, for...
No problem.
Yeah,
That's something that needs light shed on it. It's
What do
definitely
you...
an important thing.
That's a different kind of violence. It's just totally uncalled for. It's really scary, really. I try not. God don't want us to walk in fear, but it just makes you wonder. I mean, totally unprovoked.
Yeah,
Like,
if you do
obviously,
this,
it's racially charged. I mean,
Right.
Texas hasn't been the nicest state to black people. I mean, I could do a whole show on that if I wanted to.
Yeah, no doubt
But
about
none
it.
of these states are nice to us. But this, it's just random, violence. What do you think about the violence here in York? You come across a lot of youth. If you had any encouraging words or any observations, with you working with, the youth at such a young age, if there's anything you can instill in them, as compared to when you were at the high school, like where do you think this is coming from?
It's a lot of it is like it's an emptiness sometimes. I think some of these kids feel like they don't have anyone. They don't have people in their corner. They don't have people on their side. They don't have people that they can, talk to. As we were talking earlier, like sometimes I don't think these kids feel like they can vent or say anything, because now we live in a day and time when you're soft if you do this, or you're you're sensitive, or you're whatever. Have this attitude about yourself, and they're growing up, seeing things different. Of course, it's not back in the 70s and 80s, when we were raised. It's a different. And like one of my biggest things is in order to take these kids where you want them to go, you have to go where they're at first. So you have to understand the Fortnite generation. You have to understand the game. It's like this big phenomenon. All the kids play it constantly. They're up middle of the night, constantly playing this game. And it's a shooting game, and it's one of them things where they're so hooked on it. You know what I mean? A lot of kids they play it all day, all night. Like I said, I coach basketball, and some of the kids, it's like these guys play the game, and as soon as you say that, you grew up in a different time frame when you had maybe more family time, you had more, family talks. You had sit down time. Like I had to ask the term. I mean, I'm from the Atari generation. Excuse me. We had one TV, so we didn't have the opportunity to just go in your room and sit up. Home, you did your chores, you did your homework, and if you were lucky enough to get a little bit of video game in before you had to get in the tub and go to bed, you know what I mean? So it's different.
In a different atmosphere, like you said about the the video game. My brother and sister, may God rest their soul, both of them are gone, but when I was coming up, and I had a video game, but it was Atari and ColecoVision. I was playing. It's a difference between playing, what was it called again? Fortnite.
Yeah.
Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto. I was playing Donkey Kong and Pac-Man.
Yeah.
That's not going to take you off to the left or right. That's what I was, that's what I was playing, and that was it. A little bit of the most shooting game. What are you laughing at, Alicia?
Galaga, yeah, those type of games. It's definitely different, and it's not. And I don't think video games make kids violent. I just think the attitudes that they have and the things that they're around.
Now, you think they? Well, I shouldn't ask this. I mean, I'm a therapist, but you're working with these children. Do you think they're separating what they're seeing on or playing with these video games, which seem to be very violent and criminal minded? Do you think they're separating that, or you think they're blending that in to life and taking on that?
Well, I see that depends, because in some situations you have kids that leave it as just beating the game. I want to play the game. I want to defeat the game, and then you know what I mean. Maybe for some, you have some where I've had kids say to me, if I get shot, I'm going to get up and do this. Like, nah, it don't work like that. You know what I mean? Because you see it on the game, and you can reset the game. You can't reset real life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I said, some of the things that
you actually have those kind of conversations.
Yeah, we have conversations like that with the bigger kids. Normally the 8th grade boys and whatnot. We we bust it up a lot about just life stuff.
Real life
Sometimes
stuff.
you be it's funny, like some of the things that they're interested in, and it's funny, like some of the things that they say and they talk about. And it's like, wow, sometimes it's kind of mind blowing. I mean, because they have a lot more knowledge and they have a lot more access to things than opposed to we have, of course, with the World Wide Web, the internet. I mean, you can get a lot of access to things that we definitely couldn't at that age.
Right. Yeah, these video games, and you were saying that a lot of the children feel like they don't have support or love, or
Right.
is that what they're actually saying? Do you think that affects their performance in school and behavior?
Behavior-wise, sometimes I think that could be a point of what goes on with them and whatnot. You know what I mean? It's just like I said, sometimes I feel like kids do things just for the attention of it. I mean, whether it's a positive or a negative, sometimes they just want you to pay attention to them. They want you to see, where they're coming from.
All right,
Oh, no, go ahead.
Our power.
This is your wife, Takia.
Hey, how you doing?
I am well. Hi, Proc. How are you?
Hello, how are you?
I am hanging in there. I just want to travel back just a little bit and comment on the video game aspect that you all were just talking about.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that, for me anyway, I don't think the video game itself makes the children violent.
Right.
I think it's what the children are taught in their home by their parents and what they see. The video games add to it because our boys play those video games.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't in school acting fools.
Right.
I ain't
They know better.
gonna have it no other way.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said I ain't gonna have it no other way, but go ahead.
Exactly. They're not. And they would rather you come up to the school than me because they know I'm going to act crazy once I get up there and I'm not asking no questions.
Right.
But our kids are not violent. Now, one of them we got to, scratch her head on a little bit and tell him you can't provoke people and then they're in your space. But he's a boy, and they do those things. They're trying to fill themselves out. I think it's what's going on in the home that makes these children act the way that they are. Sharif, I've heard you say several times, there's nothing wrong with these children. It's their circumstances. It's their environment.
It's the things that they see.
Exactly. Absolutely. And some of these children may honestly have mental health problems or emotional problems. I'm not going to ever negate that. But then their environment is also not conducive for them to be in that environment. It adds to the issues instead of trying to reduce it.
Absolutely.
And that's all I have to say.
Thank
All
you.
right. Well, thank you for that commentary. Tell the boys I will be searching their room for Fortnite when I get home.
Yes, sir. That's on the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch is downloaded. Would have to delete it.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you for calling in. All righty. Yeah, I mean, I was actually I go to schools all throughout the county, way out, and actually a teacher at a particular school, he had his students do like a little essay on the effect of video games, and you got a wide variety of it was like an opinion paper.
Right.
Some said that it makes them lose focus. And one student, I mean, he got really deep. He was like, all the lights and all that,
Right.
which, I deal with, therapy and counseling and all that. And he said, then when I come to class, it's like a downer. You know what I mean? So you playing that 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and then you
Right.
come, you don't want to hear that, boring stuff. And, others was saying it kind of makes them feel powerful because you're walking around with a gun mowing people down. That's what he said. I said, man, I hope that's not a potential serial killer. I mean, he was like getting a kick out of it. So, psychologically, that's kind of scary. He said, yeah, it makes me feel powerful. I can just go through the street and mow people down like it was nothing. So that's why I asked.
Yeah, I don't
ask
think it
that.
has that much of an effect on our kids in the city and whatnot. I've never really heard kids say it like, in a way of, letting them be violent. It's just that they spend a lot of time on it.
More of a distraction and lack of focus.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time on the game. I don't look at that as, something that's adding to the violence. I'm just saying this is a Fortnite generation, it's an iPhone generation, it's a point and click generation where these kids are, their interest lies more so in those type of things, in social media and whatnot. You know what I mean? As far as that.
So you believe the all the violence that we see in the streets, it's just more of a societal and a domestic thing what they're seeing at home, like what my wife was saying.
More or less. Just like I
Not
said,
not the video game.
No, not the video game. More
Okay,
like
well now what about the rap music? You don't think that has an effect on their thinking?
Like I said, it depends on the actual person. I would say, like like I grew up in a time when I listened to rap music, and
Yeah, but during our time,
it wasn't quite as bad. Yeah, it wasn't quite as bad. They had you had more of the conscious. You know, man, me being an artist myself, I don't the stuff I write. I don't talk about killing or shooting or whatever the stuff the music has now. But even now, they ain't even talking about killing and shooting anymore. They're talking about it's mumble rap or whatever.
I don't even know what they be
that
saying
stuff
half
is
the
that
time.
they listen to now. It's like I said, it's a different generation. But like I said, I try to be understanding of the fact. Like sometimes when I had the kids, we're in the weight room per se, and we're working out and doing our thing, and everybody's getting and working out, and they say, "Hey, Uncle Proc, can I play a song?" And it's like, "Yeah, go ahead and play." Whatever and whatever
someone else is calling.
Go ahead,
Hold on to that
fine.
thought, brother. Hey, you got the phones lighting up. Hour power.
Hi, my name is Kathy. Hi, Jerald.
Happy.
Hey, how you doing, Kathy?
I'm so different than Jerald. On the way with you. I have a question. It's something that I've actually been thinking about a lot, and I don't have an answer. I was wondering if maybe you guys have an answer for it. It appears to me that today's younger generation, maybe past two generations, have this mindset of if they feel disrespected, they don't care who you are or what you are. They're going to be disrespectful toward you back. And I know, Jerald, from our generation, you just had to sit and take it. Do you have any clue as to where that mindset came from?
That's, like I said, that's one of them kind of things. In all honesty, Kathy, it's like, do you act like that at home? Or are you allowed to, explicit those behaviors at home and whatnot? Because I do agree with you on that. You do have kids that feel as though if you disrespect them, you disrespected me. So yeah, I don't care if you're an adult. I don't care if you're a role model. I don't care who you are. Don't talk to me like that, or don't say nothing to me. I've dealt with that. Like I said, it hasn't necessarily been directed at me, but I definitely have seen, younger people that have, kind of came at adults the wrong way instead of saying, hey, wait a minute, that's a grown up. It's like, so what? He disrespected me. You know what I mean? Or so what? She said whatever, you know what I mean? And my mom told me that, if somebody do this, that maybe your mom didn't tell you to disrespect an adult. They might have told you if someone, your age or someone in your group, may say something to you, you speak back to them or you correct them or whatever. But yeah, these kids are definitely different when it comes to that. And as far as, I look at it, respect is the one thing that shouldn't change. Times change, and like I said, the things that go on change, but I don't think respect should ever change.
You still there, Miss Kathy?
I'm here.
From my point of view, and one of our viewers, Miss Nima out of DC, said children are becoming more and more desensitized to violence. Yes, I think it's a multi-layered issue, especially me being a therapist. Everything comes from home. Like we had said earlier, the breakdown of the family, the breakdown of the community. Someone from the community was able to correct you and your children back in the day. Now, like, number one, you ain't gonna listen. The parents ain't gonna back you up. And I still say here has a psychological, a responsibility for it. We have keep posting fighting videos on Facebook.
Yeah.
As in our children, and if you're not being taught conflict resolution skills at home, so it goes back to what Uncle Proc is saying. If all they see is when mom, it's the F-bomb and the B word, fisticuffs and knives, and world's video games, then the rap music. That is multi-layered poison going into your mind, into your ear. Stuff. No one ain't going to tell me this isn't having some kind of effect on the way that they think in their is multi-layered. Just me doing this is a
village has changed. The village has changed drastically. We came from a time when you had Big Mama or Auntie such and such, that old lady that was sitting on the porch, and when you watched your wrong, you cleaned it up until at least they got down the street or whatever.
They don't
They want whenever they want, and it went from it takes a village to don't say nothing to my baby. That's the hard. So even some adults may be becoming desensitized or turning their eye to it, saying, "Well, ain't no use of me saying nothing because this hollering and stuff at me, and all I'm trying to do somewhere." And I guess it starts with us.
Yes, it all starts at home.
I think that's a thin line. Parent, because I am the parent, but I also did the same with our child. If you have a problem with an adult, I will handle it with that adult.
Right.
So to that adult, if you contact me,
Right.
and then between us two adults, we can assist to an adult, what assist to an adult, say anything to my child. Being that I'm of that generation, and you know,
Yeah, definitely.
so yeah, to my child, but not just don't say it to my child because my child does no wrong.
With no kids.
You just want to be informed. You
Yeah,
want to be
yeah,
informed
let me
about the well-being.
Shouldn't get into an argument back and forth with a kid.
Right. Don't say anything to my child.
Right.
So, yeah, I definitely. Several young adults, 18 and 20, they don't care who they are.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm comfort.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the mentality that some of them have.
Kathy, keep tuning in every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We have some powerful shows coming up in 2019.
I will do my best. Right now, I'm going to find Jerald's grandson.
All right.
Okay.
Shout out to JoJo. Tell him I love him.
Thank you for calling in.
Sure, I will do that. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All righty.
Yeah, she had a good point, and you know, I'm not calling anyone out, but you know, I mean, you're into sports. What's the brother's name? Herman Edwards. He's one of the announcers, and he always says, before you hit send, think before you hit send.
Right.
So that's just a plea from the Our Power and the Black Love Movement. If you get a kick out of watching our people knock each other's head out and into the ground on World Star, that is your business. But before you put that on a world wide web, and it's going to affect our youth, mostly our youth, because we're about the youth on this channel, just think before you hit send.
Right.
And put that out, and sending that negative energy
Right.
out. I mean, what's the benefit in it? I just don't understand it. With all the violence in the community, you want to post a video of people fighting
Each other.
and youth at that. I don't understand what the benefit of that is. So just, if that's your thing and that's what entertains you and floats your boat, that's your business. But just think before you hit, the send button.
Right.
Yes. What were we talking about there? We were talking about the effect of I kind of addressed it with answering her question, the effect of hip hop, on our youth. When we were coming up, it was so positive, and now it's just death music. You know what I mean? And I just know that it has some kind of effect, on our youth. But it's still up to the individual and the parents to filter
Right.
You know, to filter that, to watch
and you
that.
can't. You got to let kids be kids. I think that's why I've been pretty good at, you know, as far as what I do and how I do it, you know, with the kids and whatnot. Because it's like, you know, when I say I'm Uncle Proc, I'm like, I try to be like an in between. You know what I mean? I'm down to earth, but you have to respect the fact that I'm an adult. You know what I mean? And that works for me. So like I said, sometimes we're in the weight room and them guys, you know, I got my Bluetooth speaker down there and they want to play, you know, whatever rapper or whatever, you know, I don't know the name of them, whatever. But a lot of times I'm sitting down listening like, yo, what is that? But that's what they're into. You know what I mean?
Right.
My parents didn't really like my music. You know what I mean? And their parents didn't like their music, and it'd be an ongoing thing. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like but you still let them be kids. That's what they're into. That's what they like. I can't expect them to listen to, you know, Public Enemy. That's not their era. That's not their time frame. Just like they can't expect me to listen to whatever that, you know, music is that's out now. I just can't, you know, at one point in time, you know, when I was in my prime, hey, turn that up a little bit. Now it's like, yo, turn it down a little bit. Because it's a different time frame. So like I said, I try to be understanding, but yet still influential.
You mean the youth today don't like the Ozzy Brothers and Whispers and Maze? They don't
Not
like
unless
that
it's
kind of
sample.
stuff?
And little Maze maybe at the family reunion or the cookout.
Right. Yeah,
it's the good old days.
that music there just transcends time. Like you don't have to say, grandmom is around or he's too young. It is so smooth, so rejuvenating and uplifting. It just transcends time, you know.
Yeah,
they may not understand it. They understand the beat, like you said, but you don't gotta watch who is around when you playing the Ozzy Brothers and Whispers and Maze. It's just so much. That's real music. That's all I could say.
It's a different
You
era
know,
for us. That was our time.
Right. Do you get to? So you come across a lot of youth. We know that. Do you get to have any of these personal conversations that you see? Well, let me back it up. So the concerns that the youth talk about with you, because you're so close with them, you got a good connection. We all pretty much agree that it starts from home. Do you get to have any of these conversations with the parents, you know, in a tactful way, like, whatever.
From
you gotta
time
watch
to
what
time.
you say. But,
Yeah, no, but it's like it's times where I do see parents and they be like, oh, you work at Jackson, or my son knows you, or you know my son, or just maybe someone I know or whatever. And a lot of times, you know, we can have good discussions on just, you know, just stuff in general. I don't tell anybody how to parent their child. I don't tell anybody what to do or, you know, how to do it, whatever. I just try to reinforce things, you know what I mean, that you may say yourself to them as a parent. I mean, I try to reinforce the same things. Like, you know, I talk to my basketball guys, you know, shout out to my Bearcat basketball team.
Yeah.
I talk to them guys all the time. And I keep telling them, I'm not teaching you basketball, I'm teaching you about life. You know what I mean? I'm showing you something different. I'm trying to show you how to be on time for practice, how to make sure your grades and behavior are right. Those things are far more important. And like I said, when I get a chance to talk to parents of my athletes or students that I work with, you know, in my everyday job, it's like I said, it's just good. It's good dialogue for us just to be able to kind of, you know, talk back and forth. And a lot of times they say, well, I just told him the same thing, Proc. And, you know, you be standing there and you say something to him. They're like, I just told him the same thing.
Right.
Because sometimes, you know, when you're a kid, you don't really think your parents know. You know that they know, but you just don't.
It's almost
don't
like
really
they're preaching or browbeating.
Yeah, you don't want to hear it. Maybe it sounds different from
someone
coming
else.
from someone else. Maybe it sounds different from an Uncle Proc. Maybe it sounds something different from a coach. You know what I mean? Because to me, you know, coaching is just like a second wave of being a father.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're molding, you're guiding, you're teaching,
Nurturing.
You know what I mean? And I salute and shout out to everybody that puts in the time, whether you're volunteering, getting paid to put in time to take these kids out of the city and show them something, and show them something different, teach them how to be winners, teach them how to be great. It's more than just exercising and running and scoring touchdowns and making baskets. It's about, you know, a bond you make with these young people and the things that you get to accomplish together. You know, like I've made lifelong friends through sports. You know what I mean? I've got kids now that still call me, hey, coach, you know, and still talk to me about, you know, certain things that go on in their life behind, you know, a game that they played, not because they're going to the NBA or the NFL or anything like that, but it's just something, the mentoring part. The mentoring aspect of being able to, you know, to pour into someone, and you also learn from the kids. You know what I mean? You learn, you know, because you see the passion, you see the desire, you see the drive, you know. And like I referee also, and it's funny because I was just telling somebody today, I referee B League games. It's like 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th grade. When you watch those little 3rd and 4th graders just run their little hearts out and run their hardest and try their best, it's just something about it. You know what I mean? Something about it to see them, you know, encouraged and excited to be good at something. You know what I mean? And so, like, you know what I mean? Like I said, when I do get a chance to talk to a parent, you know, about stuff, and, you know, like I said, and they tell me things, I tell them things, it's just always good to still kind of have that, you know, that time of my frame of mind, the time of like when you did have that, when you could talk to somebody, sit down and tell somebody how good their son is doing, how good their daughter's doing, and they talking to you about, you know, something coming up, or, you know, want them to work out or whatever the case may be.
Quick question for you, Uncle Proc. Our producer Alicia said, what kind of advice do you have for a young person if there is no support at home? Like, how can you guide them if they're depending on, you know, their parent or their home situation to give them guidance and nurturing? And but if they don't have that, like, what kind of advice can you give them?
I mean, you just gotta, you don't find somebody that you trust. That's first and foremost. That's one of the biggest things with, you know, the kids that I come in contact with, is trusting you enough to talk to you. It's looking at you saying, are you going to hold this information between me and you? Are we going to be able to talk about this? Are you not going to put me in a situation? You know what I mean? Some of these kids, they just don't trust it. And it's sad that they don't have family, but that's the reality of life. It's sad that they don't have family and people that they can go to, but at the end of the day, it's like I said, you have to find someone you can trust that's going to give you good advice, that's going to tell you the right things. They're not going to tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you the right things. They're going to point you in the right direction. They're going to be able to get you some help. They're going to be able to give you, you know, the things that you need to keep your life on track. So when you look, like I said, when you look back, we all have people in our lives that have been mentors, you know what I mean? Claire Sexton, my cousin, may he rest in peace. You know, Bonnie B. Grimes, my cousin, may he rest in peace. Two very, very great men that poured a lot into me. You know what I mean? Even though they were family, they poured a lot into me and showed me the way. You know what I mean? And showed me, said, when I first started, you know, helping out in the community, you know, these were men that came to me, and you know how much of an honor it is for someone like that to tell you how good you're doing? Right. You know what I mean? So when you see these kids that they may not have the family support, you want them to find a person, like I said, that first of all, that they can trust, and second of all, that they can talk to. You know what I mean? They feel comfortable talking to. You know, comfortable talking to about, you know, whatever. You don't just open your whole life up, but there's certain things, especially our young men. Our young men are so guarded, you know what I mean? Because they have this mentality that you got to be hard or you got to be tough all the time. You know what I mean? And it's okay. It's okay to have a moment. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be genuinely you instead of trying to fit into the mold of what society says you should be. Because like I said, now with all the other things, social media, you got to take a picture 100 times to get the right one. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, when these young kids, these boys and girls are walking around, some of them, like I said, some of them are so empty. And there's places and people, you know what I mean, and resources. So I try to just, you know, explain to them, like, if you can get to these places or get to these people, or even maybe if I can help you. Right. You know what I mean? If it's something I can tell you, something I can, you know what I mean? Like, I feel as though I have a pretty good rapport with a lot of kids. So it's like, if it's something I can help you out with, I definitely will try to do that also. Right.
And it goes back, you know, to the, you know, the village and the community. I mean, we can't save, you know, the world, so to speak, but that's where surrogate parents, surrogate uncles, you know, come in. If you can step outside of your family and just save one, you know what I mean, and, you know, take this, you know, person under your wing and, you know, give them some nurturing and love that they may not have, that could make, you know, all the difference. Because God, I don't believe God is going to leave, you know, anyone stranded with nothing. You know what I mean? I want to hold on to that. Someone else is calling in. Hour of Power.
Hey, this is Sister Tanya. Thompson Morgan.
Hey, how you doing, sis? How you doing?
Hey there, Brother Sharif, Uncle Proc. You guys have it lit.
Thank you. How you doing, young lady?
Brother Proc would bring the heat.
That's right.
It's also a great topic, and I do want to make a quick comment.
Sure.
2 quick comments. First of all, I think you brothers are doing a dynamic thing. Is it's a very important topic, talking about our youth today and the state of mind that we are so discouraged. We wonder where they're going. But I'd love to see that you guys are huge contributors to, making sure that our young men, young ladies are heading into the right direction. The work that you guys do with the children is phenomenal. I mean, it goes without reward, I know, but I tell you, the big man upstairs sees what you're doing, and it is truly commendable because you don't have to do it, and you give of yourself, and it is definitely a dedication of love, a work of love, and I, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate what you guys do on an everyday basis.
Thank you.
Oh, thank
You're welcome.
you.
Another comment that I want to quickly make is that what we are also seeing is spiritual. It's a spiritual warfare that's going on in this country and across the world. When we see things are getting worse and not better, we see that there have been more mass shootings in 2018 in school shootings, public places than we've ever seen before. And, let's hold on to our hat that it will get worse. It's a spirit. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. And I'm not using this as a platform to try to preach. But
No, preach on.
Yeah, speak your
Church
mind.
on Wednesday. So it's okay.
I'm not trying to have my opening sermon on the hour of power right now, but I had to. I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the spiritual aspect of this, because I do believe that there is spiritual wickedness that is playing a real part of what we're seeing, the destruction of our families. And we can even go back in the sins of our fathers, our forefathers are falling onto our youth today and tearing apart, and it'll continue to be upon generations, and murder. And it's a thirsty, blood-sucking demon that craves blood. So we are not surprised when you all are talking about video games. I agree with the point of view with Sister Hamid and what you all are saying about that is if it's incumbent upon the family to make sure that you're bringing up your children, you're giving them the attention and the nurturing that they need. But I also come from belief that if you continue to watch these imagery is so powerful. Yes. If you continue to watch it, then it desensitizes our children, which Brother Proc had alluded to earlier, with the desensitization of desensitization, not trying to create new words, of our children. So all of these things come into play. We see younger people getting addicted to heroin. There's drug dealing. There's easy access to guns, and so the list goes on and on. But I think first and foremost, if we attack it spiritually and come together, no matter what religion that you are, and realize that this is a spiritual issue and begin to attack it, I believe that our Almighty God is going to give us the wisdom to know how to move forward and begin to attack back and begin to open our spiritual eyes, and we be able to reach our children in the way that is the most effective. So I really appreciate you guys listening to what I had to say, and I'm really enjoying the program.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Public service announcement. The Hour of Power is now turning into Tanya's preaching class. Moving forward. Man, that was deep. No, I'm saying.
I'll be taking up collection later on.
Yeah. Woo, that was
It was a good word, though.
that was heavy, sis. Man, we weren't expecting that.
I'm glad it didn't go out to the wind. I'm glad you received what I said. And
Oh, yeah.
keep up the good work.
And hopefully the youth and, people listening are hearing what you're saying, because
No doubt about
this is
it.
why we have the platform like this. Like I tell people, I mean, I could sit here for hours and rattle off a bunch of information, but this ain't about me. It's about, hearing from, Uncle Proc and Dr. Monet and all the other guests that we have and the callers. It's so many different perspectives. And the thing ain't about, one person. It's about bringing all our thoughts, together for the betterment of ourselves and the community. So this is what this platform is about.
That's why this platform is so important. I'm sorry if I interrupted anyone.
No.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I think this platform is so important, and so important for more people to listen to it, because there could be someone that's sitting out there home not knowing what to do with their unruly teenager. And so this kind of gives them the support that they may need, that otherwise they wouldn't be reaching out because they're too embarrassed, because their child or even their grandchild, because, family composition is made up of all different, it's non-traditional nowadays. They don't know where to reach. So, information outlets such as the Hour Power and Black Perspectives with Lady T. Sorry about that.
no.
Go ahead and plug it.
But
It's all good.
It's so necessary. So again, thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Needn't say any more. I mean, she laid it out there, man.
Yeah, that was a good word. That was definitely a
Yes,
good word.
man. Wow. Let's end out a little positive note. You got the Bearcats. They're number one. Did I see number one in the state?
The varsity team is number
Is it number
one.
one in the state?
Number
'Cause
one in the
I'm
state.
not sure how that.
Number one in the
district-
state, 5A.
Wow.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. They're
now, does
playing
that
very,
include
very well.
like Harrisburg and Philly, or are they in a different? district?
It's different. It's different classes. But in the 5A class, yeah, we're number one. Right now, we're ranked number one in the state. We're playing really good basketball. It's a good feel for the city. It's a
Yeah,
real good
especially
feel for the
following up with the
football
seat-
team. The
yeah,
football team
we
had a
had
great season.
Dejour and Timo
right up, made
yeah.
all state. And like I said, our basketball team is doing well.
Man,
We
that's
don't want to
great.
get ahead of ourselves,
Right,
But
right.
we're playing well. We're a very well-oiled machine. Shout out to the coaching staff. You know what I mean? They have our boys prepared.
I like the way them brothers work together.
Yeah.
It's I don't want to miss anyone. Help me, because Clovis is the head coach.
Carmelo,
Carmelo,
Cassiano's JV
Mr.
coach. Chris Woodard,
Mr. Woodard.
Yep.
Yeah, Kyle
Moore,
yeah,
myself, and of
yeah.
course Mr. Graybill.
Yeah.
Who's resting up right now. Get better, Mr. Graybill. Hope you're feeling better. But yeah, we're doing well. We're doing very well. It's like
Again,
I
a
said,
shining example of black men working together for
Yes, sir.
For these boys. I just love seeing that.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't score 1 point. This is when your eyes have to see. I believe that getting back to the spiritual aspect that Miss Morgan was talking about. I don't think some of us really understand scripture. When it said Jesus was healing the blind, I'm thinking about the people are not seeing correctly, not with their eyes. That's an E and that's an O and that's a not seeing the world correctly. I believe that's the blindness that he was seeing. Right. If I would go to a basketball game and they wouldn't score 1 point, just seeing all y'all working together like that, Mr. Clovis and Mr. Woodard, all you brothers there, I would be happy. I would say y'all won if y'all wouldn't score 1 point.
Well,
just seeing that beautiful scene like that, that's really seeing life.
Right.
To me.
Yeah.
So I don't know what anyone else gets out of that.
And sports is an outlet for a lot of our young people.
Yeah.
Not just the boys, but girls
they feel
also.
safe.
You know what I mean? It's a safe haven. It's a place to be. You know what I mean? It's a good place to be for our young people to. You know what I mean? It's an outlet.
So still got a long season ahead. I was at the Lancaster tournament the other day. Do they play Harrisburg?
Yes,
this
we
year?
play Harrisburg. I believe it's.
You think that who do you think is the stiffest competition this year? Because they just kind of running over people, right now.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't want to put myself ahead of the game, but I would like to say that we're really good team. You have all seniors out there. You have a lot of seniors on the team that've been playing together for a long
One
time.
caller. We want to try to get everyone in. Our Power.
Hi, this is Nina, Preston Dickey. I wanted to talk on Our Power today.
Oh, how you doing?
How you doing?
All righty. What you got for us, ma'am?
Is was Proc still there with you?
Yes, I am.
He is.
Hi, Proc. This is Nina. I know you guys talked about with the young people and them coming to talk to you, and with me being a former hall monitor, I've talked to some young people, and some of them don't like talking to us, the adults. So what I've come to see, even though I go to a church on the West, and I won't name my church because it's not about churches, my church, but I talk to young people, and if I can get them into, there's a lot of churches that have great youth groups right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend our young people to, if they're on the West End, I don't care if it's a Baptist church, if there's a good youth group that I know about, I recommend them to them kind of programs.
Absolutely.
Because we need to get the kids back into the church and out these streets.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just wanted to bring that in and say that to you guys, and God bless you, and y'all have a great evening.
Hey, thank you.
Well,
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Keep listening in every week, okay?
I sure will.
Thank you.
Bye.
We got a couple minutes left, so yes, that's just a great thing that following up from the football season, a great season that they have now. It's looking like a great season to come. Still got time to go. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but it's just great to see, and again, the unison with all you brothers working together. Also, finishing out, who you think's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Well, I'm old school, so I got to go with MJ, bro.
Oh man, you gonna tick a lot of people off with that.
Why
You said you going with Jordan?
I'm
is
going
better?
with Jordan. Yeah.
Why is that? LeBron the other day said, well,
Said he was the greatest of all time.
He said they was the greatest team, and they had the 17,
which is a very bold statement. But
uh-huh.
in all reality, not debate sports a lot. Some in different groups, different blogs, and whatnot. I don't really believe that you could have a greatest of all time because someone comes along every so often, and then that era of people think that person's the greatest of all time. Like, okay, I have a 2-year-old grandson. I couldn't really tell him Michael Jordan was the greatest of all time. He didn't get a chance to watch him play. I didn't get a chance to watch some of the older players, Oscar Robertson and Bob Cousy. I didn't get to see them guys play. So
Bill Russell won 11 championships.
Right, but I didn't get the opportunity. I got the opportunity to watch Michael Jordan play in his prime and his greatness. I got the opportunity to watch Kobe Bryant. I got the opportunity to watch Allen Iverson, and now LeBron James, Steph Curry. Just the coming of age. So I don't really think there's a greatest of all time, but there's just great players that dominated their era.
Their time, right.
And Mike's bald-headed, and so am I. So,
man, we definitely gonna have to bring you back. I can't thank you enough for what you're doing for our youth. I've seen it myself. This isn't just some kind of prop to boost up the Hour Power. I've seen it myself because I work with you. I'm gonna continue to try to come up there and see what I can do to help. The youth. We got a theme every month that Alicia has laid out in the Hour Power. So we definitely want you back. One of these months with the different themes, that we have.
No doubt.
Keep doing what you're doing. We support you. Keep putting the word out there about the Hour Power.
Absolutely.
And, we look forward to having you back. And, I'll be linking up with you at the school real soon.
Right.
So this is the Hour Power with Brother Sharif. Tune in next week, 8 p.m. on Channel 16, Local Access TV, and streaming live on Facebook. And look out for the podcast on Facebook Live during the week. Leave you in peace as I came. Assalamu alaikum.